Taking a look at your markets news now, Asian markets rose today. Tokyo's benchmark index posted a record higher after greater than expected earnings from U.S. chip giant Nvidia. Highly anticipated earnings results from Nvidia beat expectations yesterday, with the firm reporting a quarterly profit of 12.3 billion rands on record high revenue driven by demand for its AI powering chips. We're going to chat to Patrice Rousseau a little later about that. Now looking at your over at the United States, the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial eked out small gains on Wednesday as investors awaited Nvidia's earnings, which were due after the close of Wall Street. And after closing bell, Nvidia shares surged to 6%. The S&P 500 climbed to 0.13%. The Nasdaq declined to 0.32%, and the Dow Jones Industrial averaged to 0.13%. And locally, the rand is trading at 18.85 to the US dollar, 23.92 to the pound sterling, and 20.47 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $2,032, and platinum is at $894 per ounce, while Brent crude oil is at $83.45 a barrel. And as promised, for more on the markets, I am joined by Patrice Rousseau. He's the CIO at Ashburton Investments. Good afternoon, Patrice, and thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, let's get on to the budget. It was very highly anticipated. Mixed emotions that came out of it. The rand and the bond seem to have welcomed Treasury's decision, particularly to tap into the golden foreign exchange contingency reserve account to control debt mostly. Why would you say that is an important focus, particularly for the markets?
Yes, good afternoon, Nyabo, and to all the SABC viewers. A very well-received budget by the minister. It was really tough to balance revenues and expenditure and also that growing debt burden. And as you mentioned already, 150 billion of that reserves will be realized to pay down debt. While that's important, I think there was a feeling that in an election year, maybe there will be political pressure to try to increase expenditure and be a little bit reckless when it comes to spending, which is something that us as a country can't afford. So by reducing the debt, National Treasury, led by Duncan Bitez, have really achieved something quite positive. They're going to reduce the debt burden that we're paying over the next 3 years by 30 billion rand. So that allows a bit more fiscal sustainability. It allows government to have more options going forward and less pressure on the fiscus, because as you know, we've been downgraded, our credit rating has been downgraded, and foreign investors have been reluctant to invest and buy our debt because there was a feeling that our budget wasn't very well managed. I think this is where you're seeing a lot of positive sentiment and buyers returning in our bond market.
Yeah. Markets, when you look at the US and also Asia, everyone quoting Nvidia numbers that were reported overnight, which were deemed the most important results on the planet. Tell us about why this was so impactful on the markets.
Yes, for those viewers who don't know, Nvidia is a manufacturer of computer chips, and these are used as processors for artificial intelligence models. So you hear a lot about this as our systems are being developed. These chips are in high demand. And as you already mentioned, the sales increased for the quarter 3 times, earnings 8 times. And the share post-market, you mentioned 6%, is actually went up 9%. And the company has achieved a market cap of $2 trillion. So it's really one where viewers would have heard of ChatGPT and systems like this, where there's a lot of investment by corporates and companies, and the chips that are being produced by Nvidia are really market leading, and the demand is extremely strong. The CEO talked about surging demand across companies and industries and really talking about an AI tipping point. So that's why, as you mentioned, it's a very important company, driving sentiment, driving markets positive this morning and throughout the day.
Yeah, Bitez, the technology group, it has its Neil Murphy resigning. Do we know what has happened there? This is one of the things that came out of the markets yesterday, but because of everything that was happening locally, you know, we couldn't catch up, but we'd really like to know now what's happening at Bitez.
Yeah, it's quite a shocking story where the CEO has been trading and disposing in shares in the company and not disclosed it. This is a requirement from the stock exchange. If you trade in shares in the company that you manage, you have to disclose that, and you can't do that during what is called a closed period, where it's close to results. So the CEO obviously hasn't disclosed the fact that he was trading in the shares in the company and has been forced to step down. The stock came under pressure yesterday, down 6%. It's under pressure this morning, down 5%. I mean, investors, Labo, don't like stories which reflect bad corporate governance, and it's one of those. And to fill the gap, there's been an interim CEO, Sam, who's been appointed.
Yeah, a familiar brand to us SABC viewers would be the Spar Group, which issued its trading statement yesterday. They're quite confident of their numbers. However, there are some assets that they are disposing of in Europe, particularly in Poland. Why is this important?
Yeah, Liabo, again, it's a story of South African companies diversifying and investing offshore, and it's proven to be not a great investment. South Africa, which is really the home base, is under pressure. Volumes are down 2.5%. So the consumer here is under pressure, so that's coming through. In terms of their offshore investment, it hasn't proven to be really what they expected to be. So they've got their Polish operations, which is for sale. They've got operations in Switzerland also, which they've been trying to really curtail and reduce. And in these regions, you'll find that their like-for-like sales are going down. So they're losing market share, but obviously in rand, because of the weak rand, they're reporting better revenues. So it's a question of them trying to dispose of those and refocus on the South African market, but it's not easy in this time for them to find a buyer, as it seems.
Patrice, thank you so much for your insights. We've learned a thing or two, and definitely we'll be following some of those companies to see what happens there. But thank you very much for your insights. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll have more news for you.